Hey guys, Anthony and Nick here. Last week in Random Encounter, I talked a little bit about Sports Friends.
You hinted at it, right?
Yeah, this is the Kickstarter that has 4 games in it: Joust, Barabari Ball, Hokra, and Super Pole Riders.
Yeah.
They've only got a few days left.
Right, small number.
Yeah, and this is, I think the problem is, for a lot of people, it's hard to see these games. I know when I first saw them, I was like, well, what's going on here? So we actually grabbed copies of these games, played through them, and we wanted to let you know about these because these are great games, and if you haven't funded it, you should. So starting off, first of all, with Joust.
Right. Joust has the least graphics of any video game.
It has 0 graphics.
None of them.
This is that freeze taggy game that you play with move controllers.
Right.
It's one of the most fun things.
Honestly, it's just like, it's one of those things where when I first heard the concept, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then I played it, and it was 80 times greater than my already really high expectations for it.
Yeah,
It's a blast. It's like genuinely really fun.
This is cool because when Sports Friends comes out, you don't have to have a PS3, you just have to have move controllers and a computer. I feel like move controllers are about this Christmas away from being $10 each.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you will be able to get your hands on enough move controllers to play Joust. But this is a lot of fun to have friends over in a big space, outside, even in a small space if you don't care about your furniture.
Right.
And just,
if you want to just destroy things.
Yeah. So that's obviously the biggest attraction in the package, but these other games are really good too. First of all, Super Pole Riders.
Right. It's such a Bennett Foddy game. It's the dude who did like Quap and GURP.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's very physicsy, very clumsy by design, you know what I mean? Like, you're always barely in control of what's going on.
But I like it, and it kind of mitigates that whole frustration that you get with something like Quap and GURP, because when you see somebody else flailing around just as much as you are,
you're like, it's not just me.
Yeah, and it does feel a little random when you're playing it.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
who knows who's gonna win, because you could fall backwards and accidentally knock your ball into your goal. Like, weird things happen.
About half the time you score for your, like, on your opponent's behalf.
Yeah, I wound up like balancing on your pole for a while, and then we wound up like somehow
just
locking
like
each other
across
in.
It, yeah.
It's more about just the weird stuff that happens than the actual game itself.
It's hilarious, you know, like, that's what you want out of it.
Yeah.
Although when you do something awesome, when you do like do a perfect pole vault and kick the ball perfectly, like, you want to take full credit for it. You're just like, that, I planned it and it happened exactly the way I wanted to.
Yeah, just like Quap, when you take like a perfect step, you're like, whoa. Whoa, can I recreate that? No, you cannot.
No, it's impossible.
The next one is Barabari Ball, which is actually turning into my favorite of the whole package.
Yeah, like out of nowhere. I had never really heard of it before this bundle. Like, I think I'd seen it at a few places, but I'd never actually gotten hands-on with it.
This is a cross between Super Smash Brothers and basketball or dodgeball, kind of.
For sure, it's Super Sports Brothers.
Yeah, so it's 1 versus 1 or teams.
1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2.
Yeah, so you have to dunk your ball into the water on the other team's side. You have 8 jumps in the air, and a slide kick.
How has no one thought of that before? The 8 jumps thing to me is like a total mind-blowing thing.
So it's crazy because you have to kind of figure out, you can almost fly, and then if somebody's coming at you and is about to kick you, you can drop, and then you have like the remaining jumps to kind of get back up around where you're trying to go. The arenas are really well planned in terms of giving different dynamics every time, which I really liked. It's really good. And I feel like with most of these Sports Friends games, people are gonna look at it and kind of see the look of it and be like, I don't know. I don't know. But if you can get past that, it is a really, really good competitive game.
I think the way that they've presented it is they made them all very visually minimal on purpose, because to them, they want to focus on the interactions between people in local multiplayer, like the crazy screaming and shoving and like fighting that happens when you're doing a game with 2 people right next to each other.
Which
brings us to Hokra.
Hokra, which is the most minimal looking of all the games.
Squares.
And it's kind of like football and Warlords for the Atari.
Yeah, it does have that Warlords 4 corners aesthetic.
So it's 2 teams. You have to have 4 players for this one. It's green team, purple team, and you're trying to hold the ball or have the ball in one of your goals for as long as possible.
1 stick, 1 button, right? Very minimal controls.
And it's pass if you have the ball. If you don't have the ball, it's like a tackle. So Ramiro, the guy who designed this, is a guy I know, and he was always like showing it off. And whenever I would look at it, I would be like, okay, cool. Yeah, that looks great. That looks great, Ramiro. That's cool. Good work. And then I actually played it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. I shouldn't have been so dismissive of Hokra, because this is really good.
It is. It's it's clear that he loves like sports and soccer. I was like, how can I strip these down and get rid of the sports game stigma? And like, it feels like that. And it feels like really good too.
This is like a great group of games for couch co-op. Like, people are always asking me whenever I show games that have an online component or review games that have an online component, people are always asking for more couch co-op stuff. And this is like the best package of couch co-op you could ever have.
Yeah. It's so weird because there is sort of a decreased emphasis on split screen and local multiplayer in mainstream games nowadays. And this
Minus the Wii.
Right. This is the one example from like the past decade, basically. And this is just like, you want local multiplayer? Here's all of it. Here's just the best of it that you could ever dream of having.
So you get all 4 games for $15. You also get Tennis,
right?
Which is a game by one of the Super Crate Box guys, Vlambeer.
Tennes.
Yeah, which is a really fun tennis game. For $30, you don't wait to get them until they're done. You get alpha build access. You get it immediately, and you can start playing. I can tell you this. While maybe like Super Pole Riders is very early on, the version that we got is actually just Pole Riders. He's actually updating it. Yeah, it's not super enough yet. But you get alphas, so Joust is done.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still tweaking it a little bit, but Joust is super fun right now, regardless of what else they're adding. I thought that Barabari Ball is pretty much done.
It's super polished, actually. Like, it feels good.
So you can have these games kind of instantaneously and just start playing them immediately, and then of course you'll get the better and more amazing builds down the road. So guys, head to their Kickstarter, check them out. These are really amazing. Do some good for the indie guys. Yeah. They could use it.
They
Say
really
the 2 guys in the hipster glasses.
Right, yeah, don't trust us.
This has been 2 guys with hipster glasses telling you about Kickstarter.
Independent video games on Kickstarter.com, believe it or not.